there's anything I would have to tell like a brand new business owner, it's like, hey, if you have a friend that starts coming to your business, or God forbid you have a friend that like works for you, like part of being a business owner is you've got to be able to separate the relationship of like, I like this person versus this is how this person impacts my business.
Hmm.
And you need to be able to like cut that and separate them entirely. Like, because when push comes to shove, no matter how good of a friend that person has been, if they're a negative impact on your business, you have to be able to be stern and be like, sorry, like this can't keep happening. Like, love you as a human being. Like, we can still hang out, grab a beer, do whatever.
Hmm.
But for the sake of my business, I cannot keep you around. Like, it's just not a good thing.
All right, welcome back to the Brotherhood Beyond Business podcast. I am the host today. I'm Joe Rouse, and I'm here today with Sam Karoll. Sam, I am really excited to interview because I know Sam in mostly professionally, but I would say Sam sort of left a personal touch on me through an action that he took when he worked for a company called Push Press. So, and we'll dive into that and we'll talk about it because I think that when we talk about that, that's going to reveal, at least as far as I know, like Sam's nature and how I think Sam tends to probably operate in his regular life, I would assume. But Sam is a former gym owner, and he has also worked for Push Press, which is a software company for gym owners and jiu-jitsu gyms for the last several years. Now Sam's got new stuff cooking. He's working on other things. So once I found that out, I immediately, I mean, like literally, as soon as I saw your social media post, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to talk to Sam. So I reached out, but the first time I met you, it had to be at the Healthy Steps Nutrition Conference, because that was the first place that you would have been. And I feel like you were the first person to come up and talk to me about push press and stuff that you were working on. But one thing about you that made an impression on me was, and I'm not great at articulating this, but it was your tone, your like body language. Like, I think you were a good active listener and ask good questions. And I think that it goes a long way in making somebody feel like they want to talk to you more. And to be clear for anybody watching, Sam and I have had interactions for maybe a couple of hours at a dinner one time, but other than that, it's been like 30 seconds here, 2 minutes here. And that's how strong of an impression you left on me. So I think you were doing a really good job, and I'm excited to talk to you today.
Well, I appreciate that, man. And it was back in, what would that have been?
Like right after
E2,
COVID. It
probably?
was like the first conference that was happened
Yeah.
after COVID, I feel like.
Because we were out at the Healthy Steps Nutrition Summit that year, and that was when we had like the little like multi-course dinner for push press, and we invited like whoever could make it out to a place called Cinema, which was like in a part of Nashville, which was really fun. And yeah, you and your wife came out, and we had a
Mm-hmm.
good time. We had a good dinner, and we got to talk. But it's always like I joined Push Press because they reached out as a long-term client to build out like a sense of community for them. So
Mm-hmm.
it's always been like part of my nature was like reaching out to people, having like authentic discussions and actual questions and
That's a good word. Yeah.
paying attention and not just being this like person who's like, oh, I gotta like sell this persona of a human being that I am. It's more of like, if I'm my authentic self and I'm vulnerable, then that makes other people feel like they can be authentic and vulnerable. And that makes having any kind of conversation, whether it's about life or business, like that much easier. So
Yeah.
that was always like a key component of like anytime you talk to somebody, it's just be you. Like that's it. Care.
Did care. Yes. Did you originally, did you read that? Did you figure that out through just conversations? I mean, sometimes stuff like that can be natural, but we can also learn it, right? Like, I mean, how did you come about that information?
I think it was probably always watching like my parents growing up would probably be the big influence on that. Especially like my dad. Both of them though, both my mom and my dad were really big on just like being engaging with the community or helping whenever they could. If there was a crisis or a friend needed like a shoulder, like they always provided that. So growing up like under that culture, it just kind of naturally clicks. So as I got older, especially after maybe like high school and college, and I opened my gym, you really start to learn like the importance of community. And then as like that continues to happen, especially as certain life events occur, that was when I'm very ingrained in like culture, community, like the connections that we create are extremely important for like the success of my business, how I feel about like my day-to-day life when I wake up or I go to sleep, and investing in that community and in people became extremely important to me. And that's something that I hold like close to my chest to this day.
I can tell. I can tell. And I think it pays off. So let's backtrack. So let's go. Where'd you go to school? Or college? Where did you go to college?
I went to Monmouth College. Little
Was
tiny.
that, I
Yeah.
know that, was that like for exercise science type stuff, or would you go to, what was it?
No, so I went there, I played football for a year, and then I studied business instead of exercise science. Always knew I wanted to own something, didn't know what it would be, and it wasn't until I actually dropped out of college in my junior year. And one day at a gym, I was like, why don't I just open a gym? Like, I've always talked to friends about like performance, I've always cared about my nutrition. Like, this just makes sense. I just decided to do it and open my gym at 22.
At 22.
22.
Awesome. Awesome. So at 22, open a gym. What was your gym called?
Shadow CrossFit.
Where'd you open?
Quincy, Illinois, so where I grew up. Figured if I was going to take a big financial risk, being in a place where I can sleep on my parents' couch indefinitely was the right play.
That might have been the best business decision you made to start with, right?
Yep. It definitely helped me save some money and not have to worry about like cutting myself a big check right away, which was nice.
Yeah. So I want to learn more about that. But a question that comes to mind, if you've got some other 22-year-old you're talking to and they tell you they want to open a gym, are you, with the knowledge you have, immediately going to say, great idea? Are you going to say, or you should look out for this, this, and this, just be ready for it, don't expect this? Or are you going to be like, bad idea, don't do it?
I would say like, especially being around so many small business owners from like any industry at this point in life, you kind of, when you talk to people, you can kind of tell, like, does that person have like that drive to like open up a business, to give it the grind that it needs, especially in the first year, to make sure that it's successful instead of just like tossing it out there. So like if I sense that, I'd be like, yeah, like do it, but watch out for like these couple big mistakes that I made. Like expect this to happen in your life, especially at 22. You know, most of your friends are either still in college or they're just about to graduate. So you're talking about a culture where like, you know, your fun time is going out to bars late nights on Fridays and Saturdays and like waking up at 10 a.m. instead of getting up at like 3:30 a.m. Yeah, I was getting up at for my gym. So it's like you have to be ready to kind of like quote unquote grow up and like really dive into what work life culture is at a very high level. And if you're okay with that, then have at it. But if you think that that is going to be a problem, then it's going to be very difficult from the jump for somebody to like jump in at that age, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. So how long was your gym open? First you went, push press was your next thing after the gym, right?
No, so I actually opened up a nutrition company in between.
In between, so before push press entirely. Did
Yep.
you do that with the gym, or was that the nutrition company separate?
So we always did nutrition at the gym, and then I kind of knew that at some point I'd want to get out. So that's when I started opening my nutrition company. And I had my gym from March of 2013 through like February of 2020. So we sold out right before the pandemic hit. And
You
then
sold.
I opened my nutrition company in 2016, I think. And I had that from 2016 to 2023.
Okay. So, man, you said you sold your gym.
Yeah, it was more of like a, by sell, I would say it was more of a liquidation, just because at that point I had some like health stuff where I just was ready to get out and be done rather than like have to grind and do it, which in hindsight is probably good, because if I would have sold it to somebody right before everything hit in
Dude, that's where
2020,
my
I would
head
have
was
felt
going.
terrible.
Yeah, like that was my next thing, was like, dude, what in the world? You got out right before we were all flipped upside down and we were, enemies of the state. We just had to close. So it was just, that's
So
wild timing.
it was a weird transition though, because like part of opening up this nutrition company is like, oh, I can be remote, I can get out of town, like I can go
Yeah.
travel if I want to. But to go from like being around people for 10 hours a day and like being like super energetic and like caffeinated to being at home and quiet and not doing fitness for that long was a real weird transition for a while.
Yeah. Tell me about that. So because that's something that I can understand on like a short-term basis on a day where I might, like I just told you before we started, right? Like I'm doing this at the gym because I wanted to be here to put in FaceTime with people because otherwise it would have put me here too late. But I have days where I work from home and you start there and it's quiet and I'm like, this is great. This is peaceful. This is nice. And a few hours in, I'm like, I want to talk to somebody, like, because that's what I'm used to. So you did that permanently. I mean, was that challenging right away or did that come up later? Like, how was that?
I think a part of it, like initially, was like really like kind of refreshing because you're so used to just go, go, go all the time. Like your energy when you own a gym or you're a coach, like it can't
Always.
dip. You always have to be like higher than everybody else in the building.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to like just kind of sit and relax and like watch some TV and go for a walk outside and like not have to worry about things is really nice. And then probably like everyone that year, it gets really isolating where you're like, man, I need like people and energy and like
Yeah.
my community. And yeah, so great for a little while, not so great towards like a few months afterwards where it starts to click that you're just kind of like hanging out and rotting watching Tiger King on rerun.
Did you have enough business built through the nutrition business? Did starting, I mean, you started that in 16, so you had the gym a long time while you were still doing the nutrition company. Did having that nutrition business weigh into you closing the gym, or did stuff just get really tough? Did something happen? Like, what was the main driver behind closing? Whatever you're willing to share, what was the main
Yeah.
driver behind closing the gym?
So always loved my gym. My dad, we opened my space in a 17,000 square foot warehouse. It was huge.
Like,
Like I
as in
was,
your business took all 17,000 square feet?
yep. We
Oh, wow.
had 14,000 of it for the gym floor. We had a 118-foot rig, 10 rowers, 5 GHDs. Like we had enough room that you could do a 100-meter run in a circle around everything on the inside and a 40-meter sprint down on like a turf, like non-turfed spot, but just like open flooring.
Great would that have been for High Rocks, huh?
Yeah, I would have banked on that at this point. But then one winter, we got like a $5,000 heating bill because it was real cold. And I was like, I don't want to do
Illinois.
that anymore. Yeah, yeah. And for a little while, we were working, or I was working with our local hospital, and we were actually going to like take over their health and wellness program.
Mm-hmm.
And they did some things that caused that to not happen very last second. So we decided, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and like move to a smaller facility. We set a date. Date comes around, it's in March, and the day before the move, my dad unexpectedly passes away. So we
Yeah.
go through that. At that point, you're like, whatever happens, happens. Like, I have to be out of this, but I can't deal with it right now.
Uh-huh.
Some health things came up, so I have what's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So it's like your connective tissue in your body doesn't like build quite correctly. So I've had two surgeries on both my hips. So I've had a labrum repaired on my right and my left, and a major injury from football on my left shoulder. And it got
Okay.
to the point where I couldn't do what I wanted to do in the gym. It made like demonstrating movements harder. And when you're in that environment, this can't show up in the way I want to show up. I can't train in the way I want to train. And because I'm here and I can't get away, it's a constant reminder of like what you can't do anymore. So
Yeah.
it's like I might want to do that again someday, but in order for me to like mentally get to a place where I'm okay with that, I need to step away. So that's where like starting to plan in advance of like, all right, I think I've got another maybe year, 2 years in me, and then I'm gonna jump. And then nutrition was part of that, of being like, if I start this, I can stay in this culture and I can still do things, I can still work with clients and even expand into new areas, but I don't have to be like in the environment so much that it's like constantly weighing on me. So that's where that came from. So we span that out, open that up, and then once that felt like it was in a good place, I was like, all right, now it's time.
That's a story, man. That's wild. That's tough. Why? So you moved to nutrition. That did it have? What was the name of your nutrition company?
Explore nutrition.
Okay. So was it? And it was primarily like one-on-one coaching.
We did one-on-one coaching. We would work with like gyms as like affiliates of ours essentially. So like you would get like a kickback for referring us members. We, right before COVID hit, we actually struck a deal to work with every clinic that was part of a medical group in our area. So we had flyers in every patient office across like 10 different locations, which was pretty cool. And yeah, we just kind of worked with everything. And then we had
Okay.
a web application that other coaches could use as well if they wanted to.
So where does this move into you going back to no longer working for yourself?
In 2021 is when Push Press reached out and they're like, we have a role. We don't have a job description yet for it. Like, we just know that you're the person that we want for it. We need to build out our community, and we know that community is important to you. Like, it's something that I talk about pretty openly a lot. Dan and Nick both sent me a DM, and then it's like, all right, let's do it. 5 days later, or not even, I think I was onboarding and starting to build out that program for them. And then that would have been around probably the tail end of 2022. I was like, you know what? It's kind of nice, like, not having to worry about a bunch of other things and just being able to like work. So it's like, I think I'm gonna take a little break from this whole entrepreneur thing and like just kind of do the thing. So I stepped away from nutrition and just started working for somebody else
Hmm.
officially at the beginning of 2023 because I would have wrapped up the business entirely by the end of 2022.
Okay. So when you wrapped up the nutrition business, did you sell the clientele, or did you hand them off, or just stop working with everybody?
Slowly dwindled it down. So like as clients would like taper off, or if people wanted to stay, we'd basically be like, hey, we're not taking anyone new on right now. We're just going to stick with what we have. And then as like those clients naturally tapered off, you're like, all right, cool. We'll just call it stops. And also learned that building a web application is very expensive and decided not to put any more money into that anymore.
Okay. Okay. So you were building out your own, or you were using, probably continuing to build out based on feedback and all that stuff.
Yep. Yep. That was when I learned that like an email not sending might cost me like 5 grand to fix, or we used a chat API, so like a system that you use from somebody else to build into your software. And that company got acquired, and to rebuild, because they canned that entire application once they bought it, to
Hmm.
build in a new one was going to be like 30, 40 grand or something like that. So we're like, well, like at this stage, I don't think we can do that. So I don't think we're going to have chat in our thing anymore. So everyone's going to go back to texting.
Man, you got some good experience, dude.
Yeah, it's
Very interesting experience.
have done a few things. Have
Yeah.
definitely put my feet in the fire a couple times.
Yeah. 17,000 square feet. God bless, dude. What a way to start out.
It was awesome. We went, and that was from 17,000. We shifted down to 4,000 total, and only 3,000 of that was usable gym floor space. So it was a huge
That's pretty
change.
much what we have. We have
Yep.
3,000 total, and probably 2,500 of it's usable, because we just kept knocking everything down to make more space to have people in here, is what we ended up doing in the past.
Like we had enough space in that first facility where I literally taped off how the new building was laid out, and then we would tape out like this is where everything's gonna go, and we just walk
Uh-huh.
around and just leave it there on the gym floor because we had enough room that it didn't bother anybody.
Yeah, dude, 17,000 square feet is larger than the entire building that I like rent from. I think it's like 10,000 or so. So if you were now you are on your own again, are you considering starting something at all?
I don't think I'd start anything. If I started anything, it'd be more like freelance, like consulting type stuff, or like maybe shoot some media for, brands for events. Like that's something that we always did with Push Press. So if like CrossFit was like, hey, we have an event coming up, or TFX or whatever type of competition, and we need somebody to come in and like shoot some photography, stuff like
Hmm.
that is something that I'd like freelance out. But I haven't had any like hard business idea that just like comes to mind where I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for that 80-hour a week grind to like get this off in the first year again at this point.
I think that's such an interesting perspective to have, to go from understanding that grind. I mean, you still do, but from having that and then going to not having exactly that, or having it a different way, or maybe I'm assuming you were a community manager, so that probably involves some weird hours, but you could essentially turn it off when you left work.
Yeah, for the
I
most
mean,
part. I think
outside of some of the
there's
social media part, probably.
that in like I think between being a community person and just having that business ownership thing, like you kind of like working hard and like being available and like being on. So being able to turn it off is probably something I'm still like fully mastering. I'm
Hmm.
much better at it now than I used to be, but it'd be like I don't have anything going on. I'll go ahead and work for, 3 hours from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. because I'm just watching Netflix. Like, I'll get some stuff done. So you just jump on and you start doing more. So there's always that.
Oh, there's definitely times where I'd message you like privately on Facebook a few times about whatever, as it related to push press or something like, hey man, I just saw this in this other private group over here. Just wanted you to know about it or whatever. But I can relate there like heavily because if you enjoy your work, it's it's work, but it's almost like the word work has a different definition.
Yep. It's like you're working, but it never feels like exhausting in the way where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or
Hmm.
like you're working and it's like enjoyable enough because you know you're like building something special or you get to do something that you love, right? And that feeling of building something always feels pretty cool, especially when it's being successful.
Yeah,
So it's hard to like turn that off when you're home and you're like, I could fit in an hour of doing this while we watch a show, or yeah, it can be difficult.
yeah, it's because it brings you joy. It's also, I mean, it could be specific to different types of personalities, but it's like a creative outlet,
Yep,
which can lead to a
exactly.
lot of waste time or not focused on the right priorities when it comes to business. But I mean, every now and then it can be therapeutic for me just to design a new flyer or something,
Yeah, it's like
shut your brain off. And
the things in business that don't like require so much like bandwidth, and you're just like, all right, like I got some time. I'm gonna like turn on some jams or like hang out at a coffee shop and just like get this thing out and get it done and relax for a little while, and not have to worry about like balancing my checkbook or making sure that all the bills are paid. So it's like those little things that aren't quite as draining are nice.
yeah, they're the best. I mean, they can be what gets you through some of those tough times too. I mean, what do you remember? Let's go back to your nutrition company and gym. When you closed, obviously that was a very challenging time. But before that, do you have any like specific memories or like lessons you learned that you can recall that are worth sharing, or like a mistake that you made early on, or even just a really challenging stretch that maybe you didn't think you were going to make it through, or you were concerned and you did get through it?
I mean, the biggest one that I always told, and I actually would have told this would have been part of our like presentation the year that you were at Gas,
Hmm.
our Healthy Steps event, was when we were ready to move because it was very much like a needed to get out of this warehouse space. Like our move date was basically past the end of our lease period. So at this point, landlord's like, we need you to get out so we can get a new tenant in. But then like when you have this major like family crisis, you're like,
I don't care.
whatever. At this point, yeah, I don't care. Like whatever happens, happens. Like I can't be at the gym tomorrow morning to like open it up and help set up the new space. Um, so he passes away. I text like my coaches and our clients. I'm like, hey, this just happened. Tomorrow's move is probably going to be off. We'll figure it out. I hope that the gym is going to be alive, but I can't really guarantee it's not my priority right now.
Hmm.
So the next morning, I woke up and there was something at my gym that I wanted to take to my dad's funeral. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go swing by my office really quick. Like, I know where it is. It's on my desk. I'm going to go pick it up. I drive out to my gym and I get there and the entire parking lot is full of cars. There's trailers out by like the big overhead doors that we have. Like everything's
Hmm.
flung open. I can hear music. I'm like, man, what's going on? And I walk in, grab my stuff, and then I walk into the gym space because we had like a bunch of offices and you can't see into the actual gym floor from where my office is. So I can't actually see what's happening in. I can just hear people moving around. This is at like, I don't know, maybe 10 in the morning. It's pretty early.
Hmm.
And I get out there. There's maybe 15 clients there. And they had taken up all 10,000 square feet of flooring off the ground.
Gosh, that's heavy.
They took apart the entire rig and every piece of equipment. They had those like separated out on the floor. One of my coaches divvied up some stuff that we were selling since we obviously couldn't fit all of it in the same space. So
Hmm.
they had that in piles and labeled for the person who was supposed to come and pick it up that day. We had another crew of like 7 members at the new space that were installing all the things that were getting loaded up onto the trailers. They're painting the walls, like they made extra keys. Like a friend was literally coming to that gym late at night to paint the walls while everyone
Jeez.
wasn't there. And I just remember like walking out there, standing for like 2 seconds, and like I was okay until like one of my friends came over and like put a hand on my shoulder, and then I
Oh
just
yeah.
started bawling my eyes out. And like every one of those members like came over and just gave me a big group hug. And that was one of those moments is where it's like man, investing in like your community is kind of everything in a lot of
Hmm.
different ways. Like it's your lifeline, it's your support, it's what keeps a member coming around from year 1 to year 7. So that was like one of those like really touching, oh, my business could literally be dead by the end of the week, to my community literally kept my business alive for me while I was dealing with like a life crisis.
Yeah.
And I was able to, like, 3 days later, just walked into my gym, and everything from my office to the floor to the rig to the all of it was completely set up, ready to go, done. And
Dude,
I didn't have to pick a finger.
it's like somebody gifted you a new facility.
Yeah, after that I always used to like say like, yeah, like this is Shadow CrossFit. It's like the gym that our community built. Like at this location, I did not build this. Like this
Yeah.
is completely on our members, and like they put this together for us. And like to this day, I every once in a while like post about this story and I'll be like, if you're one of my members and you were there, like that still like sits, and I will never forget that moment. Like it was super heart, like touched my heart in a lot of ways. So that would be a really big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hard. It's hard to surpass something like
Yeah.
that, man. That's impactful. People can be amazing sometimes.
And it's like the typical stuff. It's like we didn't have systems initially where we needed systems. Like take the time to build out systems if you're going to open a business, or if you have one, like take a back seat for a little while and try to figure out where do we not have processes where if I did, it would be that much easier for me to operate. It's taking like a slower amount of time to hire the right people and being
Yes.
quick when somebody does not feel right, right? So like
Like
don't
that
like
feeling actually that pays off. If you
yep.
feel it and you have a conversation and it goes poorly or you still don't, you're not settled, like just cut them. And it's hard to do. It's hard to do in a small business too.
So it's like what is it? It's like hire slow, fire fast, or
Yep.
something like that. Is a good
I was
phrase to
literally
go
just
for it.
quoting that to somebody earlier.
Yeah, so it's like take the time to like really vet out and feel out like who's going to join your team, because that is, especially in our industry, you're
Hmm.
relying heavily on that person to make sure that your business is successful. It's not just a, oh, that person's going to like flip a burger for me or wait the table. It's like, no, that person is literally the figurehead of your culture for an hour at a time for 20, 30, hundreds of people. Like you
It's a great way to
need that
phrase
to
it.
be a great fit. So doing that, and then just like you said, like if it doesn't feel right at any point, whether it's interview process or they've been around for a year or two and something just feels off, you've
It
got to
usually is.
be, yeah, you've just got to cut it. Like it can't be something you can let fester for a long period of time.
I would say, I mean, of course, I agree on the systems. That could probably be interesting for you as such a strong community driven person because it can be very easy to let things slide because of how strong a community can be and relationships, and to not stick to your own policies that you might have created, like because you just want to help people. But there's this really fine line, I mean, really fine, really small, between helping and I guess self-sabotaging or
Yeah.
somebody taking advantage of you, I guess. And
There.
it just surprises you. It can be, that's an interesting lesson I've learned in business is, I mean, I've experienced some pretty amazing things from a community perspective. Nothing quite to the level of what you just discussed, but where at another time with maybe like let's say I had something that really left an impact on me when my daughter was born with a bunch of guys that got together and got me a gift because it was a girl. But later, one of those guys I ended up having to ask to leave our facility. And it was, oh my gosh, that was a terrible time. It was at
It's
that
hard,
point.
man.
It's hard. Like you don't you don't that shouldn't happen. But like as a business owner, you it's hard not to be cynical sometimes when you've been through that kind of when you've been here and then the same person. It's like now we're wait, what are we talking about here? Like at least from a client to owner perspective.
It's
Anytime money
like
becomes involved or culture, sometimes.
money, culture. It can kind of be that like when you're in a bad relationship and you're like, oh, I can fix it, or like this will get
Uh huh.
better if I just like let it roll out. So you're like, I mean, if this person hasn't been a problem for the past X number of years or months,
Oh my gosh.
now they are, maybe they're going through like a little life thing themselves. Like we'll let it roll for a little while. Give them a leash, not even a short leash necessarily, but a leash, and let's see if it just like self resolves itself. And then you
Mm-hmm.
realize, oh, it's not. but you just let this behavior go on for however long. And you're like, oh, now I'm starting to deal with like other clients like pointing this behavior out, or other things are like starting to happen. And that's
Because
when
they
you're
always
like,
notice. Everybody else feels it.
yep. And that's when you're like, all right, I've got to make a call here and like just get that out.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to do, but it does lead to you potentially putting safeguards in place to make sure that doesn't happen very often again. And you don't have to, right? Like that's where the policies come in. And
It's
a
where
lot of people don't
policies.
understand that. Like you really have to be a business owner. You have to been through some stuff to understand why policies and sticking to them matter so much, because it will save you a mountain of stress and problems in the future.
Yep. So it's very much like a, if there's anything I would have to tell like a brand new business owner, it's like, hey, if you have a friend that starts coming to your business, or God forbid you have a friend that like works for you, like part of being a business owner is you've got to be able to separate the relationship of like, I like this person versus this is how this person impacts my business.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be able to like cut that and separate them entirely. Like, because when push comes to shove, no matter how good of a friend that person has been, if they're a negative impact on your business, you have to be able to be stern and be like, sorry, like this can't keep happening. Like, love you as a human being. Like, we can still hang out, grab a beer, do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But for the sake of my business, I cannot keep you around. Like, it's just not a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think you anticipate when you open a business that you're going to essentially or potentially have what feels like breaking up with somebody several
Yep.
times over however long you have your business. Because that's how it affects you, like physically, psychologically. It's like a breakup,
Yeah, it's even it's
depending
if
on the
it's like
person.
a even if it's a great client, right? Like somebody you know is like a good part of your culture, or a
Mm-hmm.
coach that you absolutely love. Like when that person has to leave, maybe they move, they get a new job, whatever. It's like, oh, you're breaking up with me? Like,
Yeah,
why's that gotta happen? We've been together for 3 years. Yeah. You just that's part of life. It's part of owning a business.
that's it, right? And you work on the thing I work on now, us being open. We opened probably 2 months after you did, by the way, same 2013,
Oh,
which is kind
nice.
of wild. Walking the line or learning to operate within a space where you can have those conversations, go through those situations, but not take them so personally, but also not be so cold and hardened that you somehow create it where nothing matters. Like that was a place I had to learn how to operate, and it took at least 10 years to figure it out for me.
Dude, it's really hard. It's like you said, you have to get to a point where you don't take those things like personally, and they don't sit and fester or like own space in your thoughts for an indefinite period of time. It has to be something where a client acts up, you have to fire a coach, you have to let go of a member, something doesn't go as planned. You just have to be like, that's business. Like,
Yeah.
and just move on from it and take it in stride and realize that like that is a period and moment and time, but that period and moment doesn't have to like continue forward, and it probably shouldn't. It should be, this didn't work. Cool. That sucks. What's next? And you have
That's
to
it.
go on to that next thing. Yeah.
You have to. That's it. Like, and that's the approach. Like, this will resolve, or, there's going to be tomorrow, no matter what. It's amazing how much time it took me to figure that out. And same thing with when you talk about hire slow, fire fast. I read that. I think it was Good to Great is where that's from,
Mm-hmm.
I think. And I read it a long time ago, and I would tell it to other people, but I didn't really follow the fire fast part because I was still learning that stuff, figuring that out. And through owning a second location, there's lots of lessons I learned in the second through having that, and what it required and what I wasn't willing to do because I have 3 kids and my wife and other priorities. Like, so the fire fast thing didn't happen when it should have happened. But that whole gut feeling, so hire slow, that's what we did with our last round of couple of coaches that we hired here at this location. And it could not have worked out any better. It was really, we've been open almost 13 years in May. I just, over the last year, I've caught myself or found myself even telling my staff or just saying it to myself about how thankful I am for the current team we have and how well we operate. It's a small team. We're like 7-ish. How well we operate together, how well we communicate, how bought in everybody is to the mission of what we're trying to do. That lesson of hire slow, fire fast is 100% responsible for it, because we really went slow hiring. really, really slow. And now we're about to, at almost the same time, the two people I'm talking about that came in to part of what we already had that was great, they're both going to be leaving because one's going to be a Navy SEAL, and the other one, her husband is in the military, and he's going to be leaving for like 6 months. So we'll see her sporadically. But I'm willing to step in, do what I need to do for as long as I need to just find the right person again.
Yeah, it's way back in the day, CrossFit used to have this thing called the CrossFit Journal, and they'd interview like affiliate owners and stuff. And they actually interviewed me for like an article on how we hire our coaches and like our staff. And something that I've always believed in is you can hire like most technical person in the world, but you cannot teach a super technical person like how to have a great personality, how to be able to connect with people, how to be able to run a great class. Like, it's hard skills versus soft skills. Like I can teach somebody with world-class soft skills the hard skills to be very, very good at a job. It is very hard to teach somebody great soft skills, even if they have great hard skills. So we always would be like, hey, this person is a great culture fit. They have a great personality. They have an eagerness to learn. They're coachable. They take and give me good feedback, which is really important.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I can hire you. Like, you may not know like this, and this, but that's all stuff that I can teach you that. That's easy. But I can't teach you how to be like, to know right from wrong and how do you actually interact with a client in a way that helps me build a flourishing business. So that's how we always did it. We're always like, all right, we're gonna take our time and we're gonna hire people who are big culture fits that know enough, and I can teach them the rest of the hard stuff. But if they don't have that soft skills part, it's like I can't bring that person onto my team because that's something that like could take me years, and that's assuming that it's even teachable. Like that person just may be so far gone that it's like, yeah, that's never ever gonna happen. But they teach a mean squat, but it just won't. The rest of it just not gonna
mean
click.
all the time, right? It's always mean. Like, yeah, dude. I had that mindset shift a little while back. There's somebody named Lindsay Vastola who's in the industry, and she talks a lot about emotional intelligence and how Chick-fil-A uses that a lot in their hiring process, or at least they did at one point. But that became something that I started talking about using in our hiring process, exactly like you're saying. But I probably still didn't put it into practice very well until those last few hires. I think it naturally slows down your hiring process.
Yep, it does.
And I would say it accelerates the onboarding process more than hiring that technical. Like, we used to require all of our coaches to have a bachelor's degree in exercise science because I had that. My general manager has that, and all that. But we both also know how to deal with people because we've been working for a long time and all that stuff too. So it's no longer, now it just says, it's nice to have that, but we have a great onboarding system. We'll teach you everything you're going to learn in an exercise science degree at least the stuff you need to know right away on our onboarding process. So if we can get somebody who can come in and, like, we have a good example is we have a coach now. She's the one who's getting ready to take a step back, but she came in and I noticed that every time she got nervous, she just smiled. And I was like, who smiles when they're nervous? I feel like this is going to be a good thing. So when she gets up in front of the room and she's not exactly sure to say of whatever's up there on that TV screen, like, she still looks happy and confident and says whatever happens to be said gets said, but she's doing it in a way that people will still follow, or they like her enough to allow her to earn their trust. And that led to our clientele trusting her faster than probably any other coach we've hired previously. Like, really, really fast.
It's all about like the body language and like demeanor that you put off. And there's also something to be said about, especially for like new coaches or somebody you're just onboarding.
Mm-hmm.
It's also okay if like you're doing it and you're up there and you're like, man, like I forgot how to like do this thing. Yeah. But if you're up there and you're confident, you're smiling through it, maybe you crack like a little joke of like, sorry guys, like I kind of forgot like this part of the process. Like, that's something, that humility is something that your clients connect with, and like you just naturally gravitate towards people that carry that point of like during the hiring process. In my nutrition company, we used to have something during like an interview process that we called the ice cream question, because I love ice cream. So it's like the food of choice for it. It was a really simple question, but it was designed to like weed out how people thought about food and how that attaches to life. And it was just, would you ever recommend a client like enjoys a bowl of ice cream? or a slice of cake or some M&Ms. And the entire purpose of that was we always wanted to take this aspect of culture of like food doesn't have a morality to it. Like it's not this is evil, this is good, this is bad. Like it was always just like food is food. It's just, some things you eat a lot of and other things you enjoy on more of an occasion.
100%.
And the people that would answer the question would be like, yeah, absolutely. Because everyone would always dive into the answer. It'd be like, explain it. So they'd be like, yeah, like, you can't expect a client to never, ever eat ice cream again. So we just want to teach them how to enjoy it in a way that's like healthy to their life. So of course I would recommend it. And then other people would be like, no, ice cream's bad. I would never tell a client to go out and eat sugar. You're like, all right, great. The rest of your interview is fantastic, but you're not a fit for our culture because that is like a soft skill mindset that is very hard for me
Yeah.
to help you unlearn versus the other people where it's like, oh, they get the psychology and the human nature of this thing, which is harder to teach. Cool. I can teach you the technical stuff. Like let's keep the conversation going.
That's a great question. I might add that to my interview questions as we work through it. Even though we're not specifically interviewing nutrition coaches,
Yeah.
I think that's a good question to ask. I mean, that could be phrased in a lot of different ways, right? Like it could be for fitness. I mean, it could be, hey, you see somebody barbell back squatting, right? Like theoretically high risk movement, and but they're lightweight. They round their back coming out of the bottom. Like, do you immediately run over there and jump on them? Do you watch a couple more reps? You know what I mean? That's a good way to phrase it. I mean, that could work in just about any job too,
Yep.
for sure.
I think it's good to have those like little seated questions that actually carry more meaning than a person might think, because then
Mm-hmm.
you're also approaching it less like, somebody asks, what are your qualifications? Very clearly, are you qualified for this job? When you ask somebody something that's more soft skill based and like cultural, it's more likely to get an authentic like answer because they aren't really fully sure how to approach it. So it's a nice way to kind of weed out like, is this person truly a culture fit for like the identity that I want to carry forward for my business or my coaching or whatever? Or is this person somebody who's like so deeply ingrained in not thinking how I want my team to think that that is not worth my time to try to like recondition and figure back out.
Sounds like some great content for Sam Karoll to write a blog about and share with the world. And get your list of 10 questions for gym owners here, something like that.
Maybe a social post or two. I don't even have a personal website, so it'd take me a minute to get a blog up. Have to
Yeah.
create something.
So jumping off of that was a great conversation, but moving to something else. Like, so where is your head at now? So I mean, we went through past history, and right now you've stopped working with push press. So what's next? Is there an industry you're interested in more than any other industry? Like what are you thinking?
So, as somebody who really likes a challenge, there's always like this slight pull or like itch to be like, maybe I, jump out of the industry a little bit as far as full-time work goes, just to
Mm-hmm.
get a little uncomfortable, like learn something new, see new skills, like get out of something I know like the back of my hand at this point. So
Mm-hmm.
that is part of like what the consideration is all right, like let's give it a year outside of the industry at least just to like see what it's like to learn some new stuff. Then the rest of it is like because it's so deeply ingrained and you're so passionate, it's like, all right, let's see what other companies we can find, whether that's another software provider, if it's, somebody like CrossFit once they open up their hiring portal. Is it working for brands that are out there like HWPO,
Mm-hmm.
Proven, like reaching out to those types of spaces. If I ever got out of the fitness space, the outdoor industry is also somewhere where I like being in. Like those brands have good cultures. So like
Yeah, they
working
do.
for
Yeah.
an outdoory brand too would be really cool. And you're also still within the like active mindset, healthy lifestyle type of living. So it is kind of the world's open for what those possibilities might be and whether that's in the industry that we're all in now or somewhere else. It's kind of exciting to be able to like get out there and just like check things out for the first time in 13 plus years.
That's an interesting way to think about it. Like to get out there for the first time in 13 plus years, right? Because we've been so
Yeah,
focused, even with
it's like
hobbies and all that.
whenever like when you leave, it's like, you know what? I'm not gonna rush back into like employment right away because at first I was like, all right, let's go. Let's do this thing. And then I was like, man, I don't know if I've ever had more than like a week off since I opened my gym at 22 and I'm 35 now.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna take some time and like breathe and work out more and like focus on health and like get outside. So it's like I'm gonna like sit low and just take the rest of the year off and relax and like kind of reset my brain from going for over a decade. And that was actually like very like revitalizing. Like it was helped like put things into perspective of like what I want in the next step of a career and like where my head is at, what kind of challenges do I like want to take on, and just feel like re-energized after truly going nonstop for since, you're basically fresh out of college.
Man, I think you literally would have to reset your brain. Like you probably there's some training involved, like in how you talk to yourself but I also wonder, based on this conversation, is this going to be you doing nutrition? Not actually, but like analogy wise, like is it going to turn into, man, I need to be around people. Like I need that energy, like it did when you left your gym and you started doing it. Like
Yeah.
maybe not, maybe it doesn't. This is a different situation. You're a different point of life, but it's just a thought that popped into my head as you're saying that. Because I know you as the guy that goes to all the events
Yeah.
and manages the community. I mean, and you can do that on your own level, but it's just something I was thinking about.
It's something where having that time off kind of like taught me like I love traveling and I love being on the road and I love getting out there and like meeting people face to face. At the level and the amount that I was doing it at was probably too much just because there was at least one period last summer, I think across almost 40 days. I think I was home for maybe 7 or 8 days. And you're like truly going, you'd be gone, come back, drive home from the airport, do your laundry the next day, eat a good meal the day after that, back on the road the next morning. And you would just do that week to week to week to week to week. And that really makes it hard to have like an actual like life at home, to like build relationships, to have time with friends, to like train and work out and focus on your own health. So the time away really taught me like I want to travel, but maybe like 20 to 30 days out of the year instead of 100 to more. So you kind of take that like that new perspective has traveled in, and like whenever I talk to people about new opportunities, like, all right, what's the like what are you thinking about travel here? Like, are we talking 30 days or are we talking 60 days? Because 30 days, great. 60 days, not as great anymore. But I think there will always be a component of like whatever I do, I want to interact with people, whether that's, virtually building a community. Is it, training people? Is it helping them? Is it opportunities to be on the road? I don't think I could ever be in something where it's like, hey, you just do this thing and you work on a team of five and that's it. Because I don't think that would like fulfill me like purposefully enough. I would need to be able to engage with like more people than that, since there will always be that like desire to like reach out and connect.
I think I'd be right there with you.
Yeah,
I've never traveled that much, though. I don't have that perspective yet.
it's a lot. You live out of a suitcase, and it's like at the time it's a lot of fun. Like you have a blast, but then once you actually like get to sit back, you're like, man, that was a lot. Like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have most weekends were not my own, and when you get back because you're traveling on a weekend, it's straight back into work. There's no real time off, and it's just like again, it's like owning a business, right? It's like grind, 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 grind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a 3 day weekend this week. Like, cool. I'm gonna go sit outside and do absolutely nothing.
Yep. Yep. Right on. Well, Sam, I appreciate your time, man. It's been a great conversation. It was great learning about you. Thank you for coming on the podcast. And hopefully we get to do something like this again.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Joe. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man.
Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay locked in. Brotherhood is more than business. It's about leading from the front, leveling up in every domain, and becoming the CEO of your own life. Step up, execute, and we'll see you in the next one.